My name is Prihoda, and in this session I would like to tell some story about the hackathon and maybe also help you with Zowe installation, Zowe Server installation. So the code for this session is NT, and then I will ask you for the review. You please use this code. Who knows Stranger Things? Yeah. Cool. I'm the fan as well, so I hope you get because you already have seen this slide many times. So, okay. So now back to the topic. When Zowe V1 was released, we were side note. I'm working as a product owner responsible for Zowe Server support at Broadcom, and as a person, I'm getting a lot of feedback about the Zowe installation, configuration, etc. And here I have a few quotes that are taken from the real cases, and let me know if you are like in sync with what's here or you have something more. So one of them was, and I believe still is, like too much variabilities. Other one, there were people asking how they can run a USS script, because Zowe is something I would say quite new on the mainframe, and if you are talking to traditional sysprocs, sometimes they even don't know how to use USS, and Zowe mainly receiving USS. YAML is a configuration file used for the Zowe configuration, Zowe server configuration, but we have we have still a lot of cases that are somehow touching the topic that on mainframe it's not so easy to edit YAML file, especially when the size of the file is more than, I don't know how many lines you can squeeze in the terminal, so then it's much more difficult. Zowe relies on TLS certificates a lot, and the terms around the certificates are also very unknown and strange words for some of those sysprocs that are like traditionally working in mainframe isolated environment without any connection to the outer world. Sometimes documentation, even if you are trying very hard, is not clear enough, or it's written from the perspective of someone who knows everything about Zowe, but maybe we are missing some, I don't know, some basic stuff that we consider as a given, but for many people it is not like that. Usually what we are also having in our cases is that people who are installing Zowe are probably not the same who are assigning permissions to the Zowe user, creating and storing certificates and so on. So, another case here. Would you find something like this different, or? Basically, what's your experience with Zowe? Did you anyone of you install Zowe? And?
Yeah, my customer, they managed to make their whole 12-page documentation on this is what you need to do, and then you need to do this and that and the other, and yeah, they're at the point now where they want to utilize Zowe and Git, etc., but they're sort of confused on what the next step would be for them, because they're 25, 30 year green screen guys. So
yeah, great, thank you. Networking. I remember some cases where the issue was very simple, but was related to TCP/IP, and again, traditional sysprocs are not networking guys. It's usually different persona in the company, and you either need to ask for some sort of help, suggestion, checks, etc., etc. So some of our sysprocs, I imagine them like this one, green screen, lot of documentation, and very confused. So in the Zowe version 2, the ZWE tool was introduced. It's CLI interface living in USS that should, and I really believe it does work, improve the installation and configuration experience. It's not ideal. I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of issues, bugs. There might be better user experience and so on. But from version 1 to version 2, it was a great improvement. But the idea was to get the sysproc like that, where he's using the ZWE. But still, I believe there was a change for improvement. So, who has experience with the ZWE?
Well, I failed to use it multiple times.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not counting you with that. Okay. And 2 years ago at Broadcom we had a hackathon, and I had an idea how we can improve the user experience with regards to Zowe installation and configuration. So we built some kind of application that I will explain the usage and how it's working in next few slides. But basically the objective was to allow you to sit in the park, do some stuff on your laptop in a few minutes, and have Zowe installed on your mainframe. Like basically it would be like in ZEN. So that's the name, or that was the formal name and name of the project. During the hackathon, important are those three words. The rest is like added artificially by our ex-UX guy. He was trying to find some better explanation why we are calling it ZEN. ZEN is no longer available, or the term is no longer available in the documentation. We are now calling it Zowe Installation Configuration Wizard, but if I or some of my colleagues would refer to it as a ZEN, it's the same application, same tool, but just it was moved from the hackathon outcome to the community project. When we were defining field statements for the hackathon, we defined those four. Basically, field statement is like a description what you would like to achieve with some measurable outcomes and target personas. So we have one target persona here, universal sysproc. Even though we know that for the production grade installation you need to have more personas or more roles, we were targeting for simplification to just one universal sysproc with capability to hand over the work or explain what's needed to multiple roles. So the first statement says sysproc can install and configure Zowe Server components with no additional help in a few minutes. We have experienced that skilled sysprocs can install Zowe really quite fast, but it's not in a few minutes because you need to log in the terminals, do some stuff there, or use VS Code, blah blah blah, many things. And we decided that it should be done slightly better. Number two, sysproc can assess what's needed and who to ask when they are installing, or the sysproc installs the Zowe again in a few minutes. Then can access the right section in the documentation based on current step immediately. That was another feedback that we got from our users or from the community, that sometimes it's very difficult to map the part in the documentation to actual steps we are doing on the mainframe. Because so it's, I would say, complex beast, and many things need to be configured properly, but they are separate from the nature of how the configuration and the product is built. So more things need to be done together, but it's split in the documentation and maybe in the configuration file or somewhere else. The last, I already touched it, the goal was to create a tool that would allow you to do all the work just from one single application, single place. Nothing like USS or shell terminal, a green screen, VS Code, I don't know, your notepad, whatever else. Only one single application. And now look, I would like to show you what was the design principles that we built in the last section. I will show how it's look like now. So streamline installation configuration. All the time you should be able to see where in the installation process you are at the moment. So installation, system definition, certificates for the TLS security, the real instance, and so on. This is from the UX application. So in a real wizard, it's slightly different, but the principles it's still there to the same, to keep you aligned with the process and help you to navigate to each step separately. Guide through the documentation. The goal is, as I already said, to help you to navigate in the documentation and help you to understand what you need to do in each step. Are you configuring our certificates? Good. So there is a section about the certificates and the case you are trying to implement. Are you networking? Fine. This is the site or multiple pages describing Zowe networking. What you need to put there? What does it mean from the different perspectives and so on. Prerequisite check. Many times we are seeing that our customers and basically also in the community are able to properly configure almost everything, but sometimes there are, for example, some typos. or there is some misunderstanding of the value that should be written in the variable. So ZEN is able, installation wizard, is able to do some validation and prerequisite checks. Here we are testing whether you have enough space here, whether or here, and if not, it immediately tell you yes.
When you say your runtime location and your installation location, that's on the mainframe, I'm assuming? That's on the USS?
Yes.
Okay.
USS. We know that those checks are not 100% reliable because there might be some I don't know, some mainframe actions that are going against the tests that we are doing there. But basically, we are able to say, hey, check this because you probably wouldn't have enough space. This was based on other cases where multiple customers were installing Zowe, and in the middle of the process they realized that they don't have enough space. And then it would be very difficult to revert everything what they did or etc. So we try to prevent this by checking the priorities before you hit the road and then start the installation. Variable consolidation. It's very easy to do the typo in some I don't know, in this case dataset definition or the value for the dataset definition. And if it's not so easy to spot it in the terminal, you are not able to find it probably, or it will take a lot of time if you don't know exactly where to look. And then it's hard to debug it. So we are able to validate whether you are putting there something that makes sense. For example, here double period instead of the. Something what is, I believe, also very important is a driver. It's basically about the process of, I would say, learning. Or in the current implementation of the wizard, it allows you to generate some jobs and run them separately from the tool. So you can either replicate the work, or if you are like more, I would say, traditional sysproc, you can review every job line and be sure that what's happening there, it's really what you would like to execute. Because true is that we are adding many stuff here in the UI. So if you for some reason would like to really see under the hood what's happening, the driver can help you with this. Also, we know that you are able to manage mainframe from multiple places, from multiple versions of desktops or operating systems. So we decided to build it on a technology that allows you to run this installation wizard from any major operating system, Windows, Linux, and Mac. So when we finished the hackathon, we immediately have seen and management that this is something what is worth to donate to community. So we were internally working to make it from the hackathon project that was everything was really like hard coded and done very fast and without any proper testing and so on. So we slightly reworked the tool, the ZEN at that time, and last year we donated to the community, the Zowe community, and now it's publicly available as known as a Zowe Server Install Wizard. You can go to the zowe.org/download, and in the download you will find those 4 downloads. It's a Windows installer, Linux in both flavors, RPM and Debian, and also for Mac. So it's still as a technology preview. We are still heavily working on the improvements in the tool, but generally you can try and use it, and it should work without major issues. And if you are brave enough, you can easily read from the source, and if you would like to, you can also contribute. So what technology is used in a ZEN? Electron framework, you probably know it, but it's basic for the VS Code. So we use the same framework, which allows us to do the simple portability, and it's very well known to developers as well. So it was like easy choice for us. The JSON forms is another nice library that we have in our wizard that allows us to build UI based on the schema file for Zowe.yaml. In Zowe, every configuration YAML file, or almost every, has a schema file, and the JSON forms are able to read the schema file and generate UI. So many things, many screens in the wizard are not hard-coded, but in fact are generated on top of the schema YAML file. So this allows us to be consistent between the UI, between the tool, and the real configuration files. Node.js is another open source library that we are using there to connect from the application to the mainframe. On the backend, it uses FTP and the job submission to the FTP protocol. And under the hood on the mainframe, we are still running ZWE commands to perform the actions. So if you know the ZWE, the usage, the same commands are executed by this tool. And if you would like to see what's happening there, you can still use the dry run and look into the JCLs that are then doing the work. Any questions so far? Okay, so let's move to the demo. I wasn't brave enough to have a live demo, so I made a few screenshots. So, but I believe they are like saying basically everything what I just said in the pictures, so we can talk about them here in the next couple of minutes. So first we need to define the connection. As I mentioned, we are talking to mainframe using FTP, and we are also supporting TLS over FTP. So it's a secure connection. Then everything what you need to do here is to provide the server name and the username and password. We are not storing this, I mean the username and password, so you need to be scared that the credentials could leak. And as a proof, it's open source, so you can go and check the source that I'm not lying. There will be in the future, there are plans that you will be able to utilize the existing Zowe CLI configuration. So instead of defining FTP, it would say, hey, I see your Zowe CLI profile, I will use it, I will give it, and it will proceed further as usual. Okay. And when you hit the validate credentials, the green check mark validates, or the button validates that the details you provide are working, and then you can proceed further by hitting the continue button. Next step, because we will be doing a lot of actions and testing by submitting JCLs, you need to define the statement. Okay, right? Again, save and validate, and you can proceed further. Next screen, basically asking for some additional details for the installation, like where you would like to have the runtime directory, workspace, where you would like to store logs, and so on and so on. If you would like to integrate Zowe immediately directly with USMF, you can do it here. And a few more important things, like for example Java and Node.js location. To be honest, I'm not sure whether this screen still looks like this screenshot, because I made it some time ago, and the Wizard is a very light project, so the screens are changing quite fast. But in general, similar set of variables will be there still. Again, when you hit the continue button, some checks will happen, and for example, we verified here that the Java and Node locations you provided are okay, and that versions are okay as well, because we need to have for Zowe some particular versions there. Then you will select installation time, whether you would like to install it from a PAX file, or you have your PAX file already available and you will upload it by yourself, or existing SMP environment. Again, I'm not sure whether the SMP environment is already implemented or not, but yes.
Are you guys going to add the portable software instance?
No, and the reason is that basically portable software instance, I would say it's just slightly, it's very similar to what the ZEN does, but it's using something. And one more thing, we are not able to derive from through REST APIs the whole portable software instance deployment.
Yeah.
So technically, when you do the portable software instance deployment, at the end you will have the SMP environment. Mm-hmm. So technically, it should be possible to point the wizard towards the SMP environment that you just created by portable software instance and take the configuration from there.
Okay. Thank you.
You need to agree with the license agreement, and when you do so, the installation process or the definition of the installation process can begin. Few more variables. I'm not sure whether all of them are needed. Everything was there. We are using the defaults. So if you don't need to change something particular, you can keep it as it is, and it will work. Two more nice stuff. All the time, you should be able, using view and edit YAML, to see the YAML file that you are just editing by the wizard. So you can easily read it, and if you would like to, you can export it, or technically also import it. If you already have some configuration done outside of the tool, you can import it there and continue with the variables that you defined outside. And this same applies to GCLs that are used for the actions on the mainframe. This is some sample, and there is inbuilt, very simple in JCL editor with some basic highlighting and so on. So it's possible to immediately see and edit the JCLs if you are not happy with the outcome. When you are done everything what's needed, from the installation perspective, the file is uploaded to the mainframe, unpacks it, and here it's unpacked. The ZEN install is executed, installation, etc. Basically, what I'm trying to show here is that every step has some check mark, so you are able to see whether this step that is described here was finished successfully or not. And if not, you can still go and see here by clicking view job output what happened if something was wrong. One other step that is needed for the Zowe server installation is APF authorization, so we are able to show you at least what's needed, and we also have a command here how to do the APF authorization. If you are not allowed to do it, at least you can say your security guy or someone who has the permission for the APF authorization what libraries need to be authorized. And basically that's it. When you are done with the installation, you can go to the security and define the security again. If you are allowed to do the security, you can proceed further. Probably on the testing or some sandbox environment, you can do it. But on the production, this is probably better to take it and ask your security sysproc or security admin to perform those steps, actions. Another big topic for Zowe is certificate. We know that many customers are struggling with proper certificate definition. Zowe, unfortunately, is using internal certificates as well. I believe this will change in future, but you need to do a lot of stuff if you would like to properly configure networking or TLS certificates for Zowe. So we have wizard or screens in the wizard that should help you to navigate through the process. In Zowe documentation, we have there I don't know 4 or 5 scenarios that are describing how certificates for Zowe can be established, and also how or what you need to do if you already, for example, have a certificate, have the authority, but you need to create a new certificate, you need to create a keyring, you have existing keyring, many things, and this screen should help with this. And basically, that's the last screen that is here, because when you do everything that's here, you can check whether you were successful with all the steps, and if not, for example, the certificates are managed externally, so then the step was skipped, you have here a notification about this fact, and you can finish the process. So theoretically, after a few minutes, you can sit like this guy and have Zowe installed and available on your mainframe. What we are planning to do in a close future. I already touched the job export for full usage. It's still in progress, partially because we were talking about this in V3 Zowe session, that we reworked JCLs that are used for Zowe installation, and those jobs that will be used there will be also available from the wizard. We realized that the networking screen would be useful to have the networking stuff in just one page. Currently, it's or could be scattered in multiple places. We will have one screen that will also check whether you have for example, port 3. You need to do some reservation of ports, etc., etc. This will be all available in the networking screen. Who who knows who is ZOSMF SCA, Security Configuration Assistant? That's a very nice tool inbuilt in ZOSMF, where you can upload some kind of definition file. Technically, it's XML, and that file says ZOSMF what security definitions for which user you need. This file already exists for Zowe, so you can find it in the distribution or in the Git repository directly. And when you upload this to the ZOSMF, you can validate whether your security definitions are already in place, and if not, which one needs to be implemented or created. It has very nice REST API, so we plan to integrate this feature into the tool as well. So when you will be doing the security definitions, you can check whether some of them are already there, what's missing, and so on. And again, directly from the tool, you wouldn't need to go to another place and do it separately, but it will be part of the flow in the wizard. And many more improvements, additional validations, but documentation says, because in the version that is available in the GitHub, in the Zowe.org, there is still no documentation linking between the actions and the documentation page. This is what Google can. And of course, please, if you would like to participate, you can go here, and as you can see, the repository is still called ZEN, but it's about the wizard. You can find some issues or implement whatever you would feel it makes sense, and participate in the community. Questions?
So, I understand that the purpose of ZEN is to help people with installation configuration, because realistically, it's especially for the guys who've been working on Greece with work for the past 25, 30 years,
Exactly.
it's a minefield for them of information and making sure that's right. But the big thing is that I've seen is afterwards they go, right, I've got this Zowe, I've got it installed because, I don't know, someone's asked me to do it. Would there be scope for, as part of this project, to, you know, sort of show them the power of Zowe itself, and not just being, you know, a guide for how to get it set up? Do you understand what I'm talking about?
Yes, I know what you're asking for. There is a roadmap for it. The first and imminent improvements are what I meant. Something what will come afterwards is allow you to use this tool for monitoring of Zowe. It's not like a professional monitoring tool, which basically says, hey, I have this instance here, it's running, it's not consuming 100% of the CPU and memory. It shows you some basic statistics and links to applications that are running under Zowe, like APM initial layer, Zowe desktop, a few more if needed, and allow you to do the reconfiguration if you need, because then you can easily go and check, hey, I need to, change a port, so I can go to ZEN or to the wizard and do the change. Did I get the question right? You were asking about some, like, I don't know, demo mode or some kind of
it'd be that sort of thing, because they get it installed and they understand what's the purpose of it, and then they sort of go, well, what now? What's the next big step? You know, as part of this, having some like demos or examples of the very basic things.
Yes, some adoption tutorial. I understand. Great idea. To be honest, I don't think we ever thought about this, but I believe this definitely makes sense. Because the truth is that we have users and customers who are asking exactly the same question. Hey, I use Zowe, and now what to do with it? What are the use cases? Where can I get some samples, and so on and so on. So that would be nice development for them. Good question. Thank you. And if there is no more question, please submit the feedback. Vote this on T, and that's all. Thank you for attending.